Good evening, everybody. This is Lethal Sales. I want to welcome you all. Tonight's episode is about overcoming objections. I have a lot of objections. I don't know about you all, but let's start hearing them and how to get past them with our clients or our customers or whoever's in our lives, basically. Larry, you want to get started here?
I do. Our friend Brian Maxwell was a touch under the weather. He's with us. He's just not on camera, but he'll be lending his opinion in full vigor. I want to start off by thanking everybody that's joining us tonight. Always good to see Mike and Wendy and Peter and Jeff, and of course Josh is joining us tonight, which is terrific. I'll get the ball rolling. The interesting thing is when people ask me, and dealers ask me all the time, and people in class ask me, what do I say to overcome objections? I always reverse it and say it's not so much about what you're going to say, it's about the listening. Because if you're not aware of what they're saying, it's impossible to address it. And unfortunately, like most things in life, car salespeople are not good listeners. So I think it all starts with listening, really understanding. Brian, how many times have you seen it? Because I've seen it all over the country, where a salesman gets told by a customer, I have 2 kids, but he's not listening. And an hour later, he says, you got any kids? Yes, stupid. I have the same 2 I had an hour ago. I didn't put them on eBay. They're still my kids.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, being 100% transparent. Not only have I heard it from other people, I'm one of the many that are on this episode that came from the bottom through the, or should I say, started from the floor in this industry and grinded up. So I actually went through it and was somebody that actually was sold, early on in my career far more than what I was trying to, do what I thought was selling. So yeah, heard it a lot of times, and a lot of times customers throw out objections, not even with any real malice or negative intention, other than realizing most salespeople are so weak, or should I say uneducated on how to respond, that when they hear an objection, many times, regardless of what it is, they already go into more of a defeatist attitude, or sometimes can get very offensive, and get upset and a little bit more aggressive with people. So yeah, heard it, been through it, and
Brian,
I'm
it's
glad
not
we're
only
doing
that.
this to get over it.
I believe people have, there's my man, Durran. Welcome, Durran. Durran, we're talking about the best way to overcome objections is to listen, to know in the first place. A lot of times people have trouble expressing and articulating themselves. So when that happens, how do you fix a problem when they haven't even stated? Let's do this. I have 5 objections I teach how to overcome. How about if I throw up a jump ball, and then if anybody has one that they'd like to discuss or they have a great thought on, we can do it. We're going to jump on with you in a second, Durran, but we got a new guest today, our buddy Josh Taylor. Josh, what would you say when somebody says the off-stated, just looking?
Just looking?
Just looking. We've all heard it.
What can I help you look for?
Okay, not bad, not bad. Durran, what would you say? I'm just looking, man.
Is he on mute?
No.
Now.
You would have me come on here and start off that right off the bat. Where is this though, Larry? Just so I have context. Is this just on the line or something like that?
Anywhere. Whether it's on the phone, whether it's in person, they blow you off with just looking, because we all know that's just a way to tread. Just like saying I got to talk to my wife. They may not even be married.
And Durran, you did get kind of blindsided because you literally just walked in a couple seconds ago. If you want to take a minute to kind of gather your thoughts real quick around
I don't need to gather thoughts. No, because most of us as trainers, consultants, coaches, we all kind of have a flow, right? And so my flow is either to use stories or share common ground. And so whether it's a story where we're talking about, hey, listen, the last customer that I just helped that just left in the vehicle, that's how they started, was really just browsing and looking. Now, was there anything online that you found that kind of got you here today? And so I kind of put it in the context there. Like, if they say they're just looking, no problem. This is what we do. 99% of our shoppers, this is how they start looking. would you like for me to assist in this area, or this area, depending on that lot? Does that make sense? So like kind of find out
Perfect.
without just saying, what are you looking for? Kind of guide them through that and let them know it's completely cool if they want to look.
Now, here's what I love about what Durran said.
Take the pressure off of, I'm going to sell you something right now. Kind of deflate that a little bit.
Right. And the reason you have to do that, Durran, is once you show that you're contentious, once you roll your eyes, once you look unhappy or impatient, it's done. You've burnt the bridge. You haven't even gotten a chance to walk over. It's got to be no problem. Hey, that's great. As you said, that's how most of our customers start. Is there anything I can suggest or help you with? I love that.
And I love what he said. I really love when we do this, because sometimes people might throw things out that's just a new flow, because what I train on and what I used to use was very similar. You know, they say, I'm just looking for information. Awesome. Let's do this. Let's do what most people do. Let's just make it an information day. That way, at least in the future, when you're ready, you got everything you need. So which one of our vehicles can I get you some information on? So it's like, it was similar to Durran's like, hey, it's no big thing. I mean, let's do this. Let's just make it an information day. And that way, in the future, when you're ready, you got everything you need. So when you throw out there in the future, it's so disarming, because when is the future? 1 second from now, 5 seconds from now. But, you know, perception is reality. So it's so off throwing that a person says, what? You know, in the future, when I'm ready, you mean not right now? Oh, okay. And it just kind of opens up.
Let me build on what you and Durran and Josh have said. Think about this. So it's not a snappy comeback. It's smiling at people. It's showing you're listening and showing whatever you want. That's perfect. All I'm here is to help you. I love it. Mike Larkin's popping up. Mike, I'm just looking. What would your thought be? What would your quick response be? Mike, I feel like playing the Jeopardy music. Bump, ba-dum, bump,
Yeah,
bump, bump,
no,
bump.
I had a hard time with my mute button. So you're saying, or I'm saying you're saying you're just looking.
Mike, we don't need any help being confused. We got me and Brian Maxwell. We already have the whole world. You gotta bring clarity, my brother.
Okay,
You're with a customer, and he says, I'm just looking.
I would respond. Hey, I know you're just looking. That's what a lot of my current clients say when I ask.
Wait a minute. Did you carpool here with Durran Cage? That's what Durran said.
I said it different.
It's in the chat, I think.
Well, Durran was put on the spot. I had a hard time with my
Now wait a minute.
mute buttons.
I take issue with that. I would never put anybody on the spot or make them feel uncomfortable. It just goes against my mojo. And if you believe that, I have a beautiful used car for you. All right, Mike, I like that answer, and I like your relaxed posture. We got my girl Wendy on. Wendy, for anybody that doesn't know, is an amazing BDC person. She's the BDC Angels. She's married to a handsome guy that's a Santa Claus lookalike. Wendy, they say just looking, what would your magic return be?
Can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
She's muted. She's on mute.
Wendy, you
Here I
gotta
am.
unmute.
Okay.
she
All
fixed
right.
it.
Wait,
Hello,
let me
beautiful
preface this
people.
because Durran wasn't on. I swear to you, Durran, this is one time, I'm not exaggerating. She just showed us a background of a bunch of marijuana. Were you imbibing before I asked the question, Wendy? Because it's not like you to not get off the mute button.
And that really happened.
Truly, there it goes.
There you
I
go.
had it on for 420 for my teams and I forgot to take it off. So anyway, so I'm going to put a little BDC flavor on it. So I could use what I used when I was in sales, but two of my favorite things I like to say, and they both kind of extend what both Durran and Brian already said. So fabulous. I'm so glad you decided to look here. We've got so many options for you. Vehicles and financing. You're going to feel like a kid in a candy store.
I love it.
I can now
like
put
it. That's
BDC
like
to levity. Yeah, that's good levity, especially on a phone call with BDC.
Yes.
I chuckle.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
that's
further,
good.
and you know what? And we'll turn it into an information day. We'll go over all your vehicle financing options, give you everything you need to make an educated buying decision. No obligation. Come on, let's get started.
What?
It's no
what's
big
the-
deal. It's not this complex. I think at one point in time, the way sales was taught, well, it's not what I think, what I know. Just referencing back to a lot of the training material that I've gone through that have been put out, from the 60s, whether it be the Nightingales and all these other people that have been, Zig Ziglars that have been real pioneers in training and educating people. When it came to sales, it seemed like it was a lot easier to create these type of canned responses because sales was evolving and consumers were evolving and industries were new. And it seems like once an industry would get, a little bit more mature, customers became wiser, those industries, the way that they sold began to kind of, fall out. Look at the automotive industry. This is one of those ones where the sales industry in automotive has been rocking out, since the late 1800s. So consumers have been well versed and educated, and people pass down tips through generations on stuff that they've heard. And I think just taking it back to like what Durran said didn't sound scripted. And I think it was just one of those things that you come up with where it just makes sense. No big deal. Matter of fact, the last person I helped had to get them some information. That's true. The last person they helped, they did need to get something.
Hey, Brian,
Let's just make it information day.
Do
It
we
just-
agree? Do we agree that nothing is stronger in life than when a negative is overcome by a positive? And since they come in expecting us to be high pressured and kind of evil, if we're nice, if we smile, take the tension out, everything's relaxed. Hey, I've been trying to coax Christine onto our show forever, and here she is. Christine, would you like to jump in and give us a good answer for when people say just looking, how you kind of pull them into the fold?
Hi.
Hey,
Hey, how you
Hey,
doing,
Tom.
Christine?
I see a very old friend. Hi, Tom.
How are you, Christine?
I'm well. I'm well.
Super.
In the
Hey,
dealership.
hey, and I'm not that old.
Yeah,
but
I was going to say it.
Oh
there's a
no, we're all old. You're an old friend. We're all old people.
Christine, if you see Thomas sitting at his desk and he's got a picture of his junior prom, he took Methuselah to the junior prom. So he might even be
True.
older than you think.
Well,
It's
just so you all
true.
know, Tom was one of my first bosses at my first store when I was 20, 20. Too young to
Dang.
be at the first Christmas party, 20 years old. So
Wow.
that's
I bet
how
he
was
I got
a- I
my
bet he was-
start in automotive.
I bet he was a heck of a nice boss because I
I didn't
bust
hang around too much with Tom one-on-one, but he was in there. He was in the mix. It was more with his brother and Tom Bates and
Okay, cool.
John
All right, so
Malasina and that crew. But anywho, yes, I'm just looking for I walk up to somebody on the lot. I'm just looking. Wonderful. That's really intelligent choice because a lot of people now do all their looking on the internet. And you can't pick a car from the internet. It's all about what it looks like and feels like and smells like. I'm so glad you came out to look today. If there's any questions I could answer for you, let me know. I'm also very happy to give you some information on, like Wendy, building on Wendy's answer, payments, interest rates, all of the things that you might feel hesitant about asking because you think it's going to make you be committed to talking to me. I'll give you information and let you go on your way. Enjoy your day. But I'm so glad you decided to look. Such a smart choice.
now if you notice, since this is a Zoom call, we're not on Clubhouse, everything she just said was with a smile. Do we all agree that if you're smiling at people, that's 70% of the battle? Who wants
Yeah.
a grumpy salesperson? All right, my man Jeff has raised his hand 9 times. Jeff, just looking. And Christine, thank you. And Tom, thank you so much for joining us.
I want to call a timeout and just commend Peter on his jacket. That's awesome.
Oh, look. Oh, I haven't seen it. I haven't
It's
paid
I
attention to
haven't
it.
seen it either.
Yeah.
You know, how many people come into the dealership and say, "Hey, can somebody help me?" That's the guy that's going to win the lottery ticket this weekend, right? I'll be back.
Yeah.
But
Now that Liberace's dead and Elton John's tour is officially over, Peter is now wearing their jackets. That's the only thing that's going on.
So they have a
Hey.
big inheritance that's coming in next week.
Well, and most of them
Like-
come in. Most of them come in either with their fists up or they're leaning back, right? So I think, and they're testing, as you started saying, Larry. They're testing the waters because they don't know what else to say. And if we just say something like, "Man, that's awesome. My name is Jeff. And let me just give you a quick lay of the land. Their SUVs are over here and their sedans are over here and their, whatever. And I'll be right over here in case you have any questions, so that kind of lowers the dam a little bit, I think, if you just let them feel like they're in control. Right.
Let me just jump in for a second.
And this is after you put your cigarettes out and run after them, right?
Go ahead, my man.
So one of the biggest things is being said about 8 times already tonight is be a differentiator. Be different. Don't be the guy that they're expecting. If you're the guy that they're expecting, they're gonna walk off the lot as fast as they did on the last lot. So you become welcoming, transparent, honest, accommodating, and you're going to overcome anything that they have to come to town with you.
Peter, how about funny? I think I
exactly.
think I unofficially, Tom, invented EMI, early management intervention. Because I'm out of my mind, when I would get a customer and I could see they were a little rigid in terms of body language, I swear to you, I'd walk them up to my managers, who by now would cringe when they saw me, and say, "Hey, boss, can you help me out? This guy made too much money last year. We got to overcharge him for tax reasons." Of course, the guy would say, "You out of your mind? I didn't." All of a sudden, people were laughing. It's so much easier than looking like you're just going to stick your hand in their pocket. I'll tell you what, these answers were brilliant. Let's jump to the next one, if it's okay with everybody.
I want to chime in on something. I want to just say something. I want to say something real quick, because I know what we're talking about, because I know all of us have been doing this for a while. And I really, hopefully, maybe we can steer where the direction is going. Really, what is that mind frame when you first started? Not where we are. Right now, we get it and we got this file. But remember before it made sense to us, like before you really, you learned something that you used and you started doing it over and over and over. Really, what was that about? And I think that, some of the responses, if somebody's listening to this in the future that is in sales, that's in that first year, maybe in that second year, hitting that sophomore, that sophomore ceiling for a second, what is their mentality when they haven't said it thousands of times? And it's like that song that you haven't heard since high school, right? You heard it, it was your favorite, it was your jam. 20 years later, when it pops in on the radio, you still know the words. You can ad-lib it while you're driving home without even thinking about it. Why? Because you listen to that song thousands and thousands of times, and that was 20 years ago. So, where a lot of it's going to boil down to, how do we help that new person? How do we help that person that hasn't had the word tracks, put it to where it's comfortable when they're in that situation to think rational?
All right, I'll go first, and let's just roll through everybody. My thing always was, I understood it intuitively, or I got lucky, that people didn't want to come to a car dealership. That it was like going to a dentist office with root canal with no anesthesia. So if they were there for a purpose, and they did want to buy something. Yeah, they were programmed to say, it's too expensive, I can't afford it, I have to think. But they were there for a reason. And if we could just learn to relax a little bit and take a deep breath and not let them see us sweat, and again, try to have fun with them. Brian, that was my secret weapon from day one. I just had fun with people, where the people around me would show their nervousness, stress. And everybody in this program knows, when you're stressed, you make people around you stressed. Just go down the road. His idea was great. Tom, what was your mentality when you started out?
Well, at my very first day, I was scared to death of a customer. Scared to death, like, what the fuck? Like, what am I supposed to say? And what am I supposed to do? And holy shit, right? Because I got trained like everybody else. There's the fucking lot. Go sell a car. That's how I was trained.
That's 2 curse words and an octopus. We're getting really far afield here, Kline. Christine warned me about you.
Yeah. So,
stick your quarters in.
I'll just give you a 50 and be done.
Okay.
What do you say?
So, it's all, what I would say when somebody was coming up, they say, I'm just looking, it's like, that's so funny, because so am I. With a big smile, and you shake their hand and you say, "My name's Tom," and then you're off to the races. So I think it's all about making people comfortable, and it's about having fun. I mean, I'll give you two quick stories. I don't want to usurp the time, but this one customer who actually, if people don't know, I'm a third generation car guy. So I upped some people on the lot. People knew my father and they wanted the special Mr. Kline deal. And that's when I charged them extra because they were assholes for asking for it. So, because I knew that they didn't know. I mean, I knew who my father's friends were. So this guy says to me, he bought a minivan for his wife. He came up to me right after F&I, he said, "If this car's fucked up, I'm coming to find you." I said, "That's fine. I'll be right here. No problem." Right. So 4 days later, I get a call screaming banshees. Right. They're in South Carolina. The car's broken. It's a brand new car. South Carolina, the car's broken down. I said, "No problem. I'm going to arrange a wrecker to pick it up. Let me find the nearest Chevrolet store. We're going to take care of it for you. We're going to figure out what's going on." And more 4-letter words. I listened to him. I said, "I understand you're upset, right? You have to treat customers like you would your teenagers, right? You have to identify the emotion. And when you identify that emotion, say, I know you're frustrated. If I were you, I'd be frustrated too. I'm really sorry this happened. Let me, and he wanted to go on and on. I finally said, I know you're upset. I can't take care of it as long as I'm talking to you. So I'm glad to listen, or I can get off the phone and take care of the problem." And so he finally let me off the phone. So I got the car towed to the nearest Chevrolet dealer. I called the service manager. I said, "These people here, they're coming in. The guy's going to kick my ass, the whole thing." Right. So I said, "Please, can you get him in for me? I know you don't know me and we don't know one another, but I'd really appreciate a little help." So the service manager calls me back like an hour and a half later. And he said, "There's a funny thing with those newfangled cars." I said, "Yeah." He said, "They require gas to keep going."
Oh my God.
Hey, Tom, I don't want to preempt your second story, but Josh Taylor has one more minute before he picks up.
Oh, by all means, Josh, go ahead.
Josh, tell us when you started, what was your mentality, and how has it carried through or changed? And then you can go grab your son. We appreciate you being on so much.
Thank you, Joe.
I appreciate that, but to give a little context, I didn't read all of the little bits before entering this room today. I'm entering a room full of people who started in sales, selling cars. I started in the shop, turning wrenches, and after 20 years, 3 weeks ago was the second time I left the bench. So now I'm selling for Rick and Russ at Fixed Ops Marketing. I'm selling B2B software for automotive dealerships. So the concept's the same. I've never worked the sales floor. I've never had to deal with I'm just looking truly on the shop floor.
Excuse me. Are you married?
I am.
Okay. You had to ask your wife out at some point. I love it when people tell me they don't have any sales experience. Do you have any
22 years ago.
Brothers and sisters? Because if you've had brothers and sisters your whole life, you've been a negotiator and a salesperson.
They're 12 years younger than I am to begin with. I've never had to negotiate with them. I'm learning a little bit. The service sales side is not the same as the sales floor side because I have the opportunity of people who have already been to the dealer and understood a basic understanding. Even if they were new, they already had a bit coming into the door. They knew that some of them thought that they were going to get screwed over because they were coming to a dealer or coming back to the dealer for service, but they were there with their car already. They weren't coming into a $40,000 purchase. They were coming in for a $40 purchase. And now that I'm working for Rick and Russ on the phones, dialing for dollars, so to speak, I'm trying to overcome objections on the phone to dealer principals, service managers, fixed ops directors. So trying to get the opportunity to get to the objection is the first hurdle. The second is being able to pitch and not have objections in that first 45 seconds. If I get to 45 seconds, for the most part, I'm getting another 5 minutes. The challenge is getting to 45 seconds and then having them to want to go past that 45 seconds. So
then tell them, Josh, start off telling them that you're not looking, all you need is a couple minutes. If you give them value in those couple minutes, give you all the time you need. Where most people make their mistake is they start rambling on and on, turn the dealer or whoever the customer is off, and now that everything you've said, they've tuned out. But start off with, I don't need a lot of your time.
Of my pitch currently is, hey, I understand I'm an interruption to your day. Can I have 45 seconds to tell you why I called?
I like it.
And Josh, I want to jump in on something that you said. I know you're in a different kind of ball field right now, but for the sake of conversation, I'll be brief. What you said about the service side, I hear that quite often by folks that are, that run those departments where they say, well, it's different, man. You guys are doing that, we're doing this, people are coming in, and just food for thought. There are several stores who opened up their perception and said, okay, Brian, show us how what you show over there can help us over here. And at one store, we saw an increase as drastic as 36%. And it was just in them learning how to ask one additional question when a customer that's coming in for service, making a suggestion of an additional service that's going to be needed in the future, or having some type of special that they could take advantage of, even though it was going to be 3 months when they were going to have to do it. And so I do agree that the price points are different, but I think the fundamentals are the same, and what you need is the same. And I believe that those service departments and stuff that really realize the two departments aren't as different as people think. It's just the triple P's, the person, the product, and the price. That changes industry, dealership to dealership, whatever. But the foundation of the fundamentals, I believe, still can add value tremendously on that side, as far as in the bottom line.
Oh, I agree that they aren't that much different. I understand. I said, the difference between 40 grand and $40 is a fairly big difference. But you're right. People process and policy is fundamental. You need to have the right process in the right spot. I'm just trying to learn what the right process is on the phone when I don't have the opportunity. When somebody can simply go, no, click. You don't get the opportunity necessarily to overcome the objection.
So,
hey,
Rhonda,
Josh,
we just had that episode. Rhonda, what was that episode, Larry, that we just did a couple of weeks ago where we went over that hardcore, where maybe he can check that out too, where we did address that amongst other business, people in the industry that are doing what we do. So we do got an episode on that, Josh. You get a chance to check it out.
Hey, Josh, we're also, it looks like we're not going to get through a third of the objections we wanted to talk about. So we'll probably have part 2 of this conversation next Wednesday, and we would be honored if you would join us again.
So,
I'd be
Harry,
happy
if I could just mention one thing before Josh goes.
Please.
So,
Me too.
Josh,
I'm not going to go. I'm going to listen. I'm just not going to be able to talk.
Oh, okay. So part of when you're calling is, and listen, everybody on the call knows that sales is not my forte, but I have a unique background, which I'll tell in a little bit. But if you have your guys smile, when you say, hi, will you give me 45 seconds? And you make them smile, the person on the other end can literally hear the smile, and it will make a big difference. Because that will bleed through the call versus, can I give you 45 seconds? Can I give you
here's how you know, Wendy, Tom's telling the truth, because you can always tell when somebody isn't smiling. When you get that rude, hold on.
Even
how
on the
about when
phone.
you beg them not to put you on hold. Please don't put me on hold. Hold, click. Go ahead, Jeff. Sounds like you want to jump in there. Let's get Wendy.
Smiling even on the phone. So I don't have Durran's looks or Christine's smile.
Or Peter's jacket.
That too. That's the biggest one. And I started with AutoNation in the internet department. I was actually building an aftermarket department in that store, and they nominated me to be in this new thing called internet sales, and nobody had done this before. So I learned a lot on the retail sales floor just by watching those guys and hearing every customer that I sold says, boy, this is the way to do business. I'll never go into a showroom again, because we were in a different department and we sat on the same side of the desk with the customer. So getting back to what, was brought up, be different, start different. Don't be what they expect. And that you couldn't be more right about that.
Utilizing a pattern interrupt. That's the best term that I could give you. If you're not familiar with that, I would really say, look that up. That is something I picked up years ago from a company, Sandler Training. I picked that up, and that really changed a lot of helped a lot of strategies. So pattern interrupt is something when Jeff is saying be different is just another way of saying that, but using it, in a way that makes sense. But yeah, I definitely agree with that.
One more
My-
thing.
my-
When you expect them to say no, give them something to say no to that is still the answer that you want. That's the gist of pattern interrupt.
And I
Smart.
want
Would
to
it be
just,
ridiculous for me to talk to you for 2 minutes? No.
The
Oh,
end of
got
my
the
phrase
satisfaction of saying
is
no and you
now a
still
bad
got you what
time.
you wanted.
Yeah, because you
Hey,
just caught
hey,
me with that.
Durran,
And
when
Wendy's
you
the
started out,
queen.
my brother, what was your thought pattern and how has it evolved to be the guy you are today, if you don't mind me asking?
Who are you
Maybe-
addressing?
I was asking my man Durran, who is either on another line or hasn't hit the unmute button. And then we're jumping to Wendy.
interim, Wendy, don't be so polite. Just jump
Okay,
in.
I got something I
back-
want to say. Shh, my turn,
Yeah.
my turn. Pick me, pick me.
There you go.
Durran's up. Go ahead, Durran. You're off.
No,
Okay,
but
go ahead,
that-
my brother.
But back it up, Larry. It's loud. Let me step away real quick.
Sure.
Well, man. But all right, give me the context again, because I heard the
We're-
gentleman before talking about sales. and-
Brian said everybody on the show is pretty experienced. Let's instead of talking about what we're doing now, let's dial back to where we started. I said I always like to be a little crazy, a little different. It's work with humor, which obviously I've evolved through, but retained. When you started, what challenges did you face? Tom said he was scared to death to talk to a client. Some people, let their nervousness show, or they jump right to the sale. They ask for the sale before they've done the demo or proved value.
Well, so what I would say to that is I didn't like winning by accident. So what I meant by that was every time I lost or I failed, even though we don't believe in the word fail, right? I would write it down. Like I would go back to my desk and write down what just happened. But then when I won, so the next time somebody said, I'm just looking, and there was a response that I used and the whole experience went great, I would go back to my desk and write that down. And where that came from, this is going to sound terrible, but it took me 5 times to pass the ACT. And the reason why is because I focused more on just memorizing questions and what that answer would be than actually trying to study the actual work, because my brain was just not set up for testing. And so that carried over in the rest of my career, where if I get tested and I lose, there's only about 3 more times I'm ever going to lose again. And then I'm going to win. So what I would tell anybody on here is don't just lose and learn and never change your craft. It's more of like, you're going to stump and you're going to learn, but just make sure that you take time to get with a mentor, a trainer, your leader, and just talk to them about what just happened, and then alter it every single time. So then that way, after a month, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, you're just getting better and better and better. But sometimes what we do is when we lose or we learn, we sit there and we start blaming everybody else. It's the credit. It's that person. It's the economy.
Durran, two things. I'll quote, and you've hit on it. One of my all-time favorite human beings, I think everybody's, because of his resilience and his greatness, Nelson Mandela. He said, I never lose. I either win or I learn. And I got a lot. And if I can quote my own damn book, Inner Moron Demons, I say, don't lie to yourself, because there's nobody there to correct you. The fact that when you didn't get what you wanted, you step back and instead of pointing at your manager or somebody else and said, what could I have done better? I love that. And I didn't want to jump all over Wendy because she was in. What did you think? And Durran, that was perfect.
No,
Wendy,
thank
when
you.
you were starting out, how have you evolved to be the firebrand you are now?
I actually just wanted to pump Josh up a little bit while he was talking, because Josh, the guys didn't bring you onto their team, because of your great sales ability or whatever. They brought you on because your family, with all the SDL group, your family and you are brilliant. You've got a great mind and you've got an infectious personality. So I don't care about all the training. Forgive me. I know we all make a living training people. Just do you, Josh. Do you, and think to yourself when you're about to approach someone, what would Josh do? Because you are incredible and you need to just step into your brilliance each and every day, and you're going to crush it just by being you, and the rest will come. That's all I got.
Did you hear that, Josh? The good news is one of the bright lights of our industry just said you were wonderful. And the bad news is the bright light of our industry has wallpaper that looks like pot plants. I'm just saying. Right? No, now we know what Fred's doing in the background, right?
Hey, Larry,
Yes, sir.
one of the things that I'd like to say when we looked at our beginnings is I recognized something and I said life mistakes are life's learning experiences. They're only mistakes if you repeat them. And that's and Jordan said you want to double your success rate, triple your failure rate.
Yeah, but I'll also put on something like this because I know some of your stories and other ones I may not, but for myself, what helped it where I realized that I had to change and that learning how to handle people with certain situations, I really had to learn people. And that took for me to develop discipline. Because quite honestly, when it came to basketball, I was disciplined. When Durran told the story about the ACT, I was relating so much because I too took it 3 times. And, you know, it was one of them things where my studying was off. The way I went about it was just, I was totally wrong. So when I even first started selling, I thought it was about the gift of gab. I didn't know it's about the gift of listening and asking the right questions. And it really took for me to be almost getting evicted out of a place, broke to the mug, you know, going through my young job jumping phases, you know, wife and children at home, where I said, this shit has to work. And I said, what will it take? And that's when I just had to lock in on that vet at my store and really start paying attention to what they were doing and asking them. So I think, you know, discipline is at the root of, I believe, what has helped everybody on this podcast to get to a point where you've been able to make some noise in your industries and your profession. So I think discipline is far more important and confidence sometimes than even the word track, because energy and confidence are contagious. It's contagious. You can say the wrong thing, but give a good vibe and make the situation go positive sometimes.
I'm gonna give that a standing ovation.
Thank you.
The energy is better than any words you can say.
Yep.
Believe that you're there to help them. Give off the energy that you're there to help them and actually help them, and you'll win no matter what you're selling.
That's what I really tell people. Really genuinely give a damn about helping them. When you're new, you know, when you got them newbies, they want to know, well, what do I say when they do this? I said, man, I can tell you all that. You're not going to remember it tomorrow. I said, the best thing you can do as you're learning these things is really, truly, honestly, in your heart, try to do everything you can to help. And I promise you, you'll end up in far more, you know, beneficial situations than not. And those that listen do. Those that don't struggle for a little while.
Brian, nobody wants to get sold. Everybody wants to be helped. It's so simplistic. And yet sometimes you got to hit people in the head with a brick to get them to.
Well, I want to piggyback, Larry, if I could, just for a second on what Tom said earlier with like calling the other dealership.
You're not going to curse, are you? Because Rhonda's got the change jar.
I can. But using that word help, you know, when you need something from somebody else, if you start the conversation by saying, hey, I need your help, or I need some help, the whole conversation changes. Now, again, I said before in my comment, there's not customers coming on the lot saying, hey, I need help over here to buy something, right? But I think internally, and as we deal with people, they don't want to say that, but we should have that mentality. And we all said it here. I'm just here to help. Christine said it, you know, I'm just here to help.
Hey,
whatever
Jeff,
you want to do.
Jeff, one thing.
Hey, Peter, hold on. Before you jump in, let me build on what he just said, because I actually had a parallel life to Jeff. And I did run into people that waved their hands and said I needed help, because I was in Trent, New Jersey, and so many people had bad credit. And they really did need to help. And the difference between me and a lot of the morons I work with, I tried to help these people. I made money. I'm not I'm a capitalist, but I treated them with respect. I showed that I cared a little bit. They couldn't wait to tell their friends because they were used to getting, disrespect. So everybody's looking for everybody wants their guy. Hey, go see my guy, or this guy takes care of me. And when you become that guy, and it's got to not be, hey, we all know if all you're for is the money, you're never going to get all the money. But if you're really for the people, the money's going to come rolling out by accident. Go ahead, Peter. I just wanted to build on what my man Jeff.
Well, I've been privileged in majority of the manufacturers I've worked with that people were driven to them because they wanted that brand, whether it be a premium brand or a Japanese or whatever. So I've been fortunate to work with the right brands at the right times. But there's one brand, Volvo, that I can say that it was the most unique brand out there. And the people I trained with that brand is that nobody on this planet goes to a Volvo lot just to look. And they will say that every single time they get on the lot, and you look at them and you go, you can't be serious, because no one comes to a Volvo lot. And you tell them that. No one. They just aren't that brand. And you knew exactly why they were coming. They had kids. They wanted safety. They wanted protection. They wanted longevity. They wanted everything. So it was that objection was thrown out every single time. And you just turn around and you welcomed them to the fold and just said, hey, come on in. We're going to tell you all about it. And you can make your decision going down the road.
You know what, Pete? I agree with that. But here's the you know, I think that people do love the brand, but we're talking about that salesperson who is happy that that customer loves their brand, but wants that customer to love that brand and buy from them. You know, we have to also fast forward into modern times where today, you know, where we say everybody's looking for that help. I think everybody's looking for the next person to be that scammer. And I think that the genuineness has to come from a place of, that's why we say genuinely want to help energy, because I don't think people are looking for help. I think people are looking for information, and they're looking for a quote unquote trustworthy resource, you know, to get that information. We got the internet, you got all this stuff going on. We are far more skeptical of one another. I mean, hell, look at people buying cars directly from manufacturers to avoid going to deal with that individual. Why? Because they think they might be a scammer. So I think, again, it goes back to the mentality of saying, okay, knowing that this person loves the brand, how do I get them to love me? And knowing that they're expecting me to be a thief, a liar, a scammer, I'm in the automotive industry, what can I do within the first 30 seconds that can 360 that, 180 that idea, turn it around where we can establish a working trust? Because people talk, oh, trust. No, all I need is a working trust, where you trust me enough to just share enough information so we can figure this thing out. Well, what do y'all think about that? Because customers they look at salespeople way more sketchy today than they did 40, 50 years ago. So yeah, they love the brand, but how does that salesperson get them to love them as opposed to going to the next store or the next store? Because they can go buy the brand.
Brian, you show you care about them. That's the only way to get them to care about you.
I wanted to ask Christine a question too, because I think, Christine, if I know you, you're closer to the lot than maybe some others of us. Have you yet come across a customer in the last 5 years that hasn't looked on the internet first?
You mean in the last 20 years?
Okay, thank you. You made my point. You answered my question. And made my
Okay,
point.
no, of course they have. And that's why I throw that part out there immediately. The word welcome just came out of Brian's mouth. That's such a word that people don't use. They walk up, first day selling cars. I just actually ran into a person who was one of my sales trainers, Brett Lloyd. Tom, I don't know if you remember Brett Lloyd. And I ran into him out at dinner one night with his new girlfriend. And I walked up, gave him a big hug. I was like, Brett, it's so good to see you. How are you? And he was explaining who I was to this woman he was with. He's like, I trained her how to sell cars. And I said, yeah, you did a pretty great job, except for when you stole half deals every time I needed help getting the odometer right. But thanks. And like, we made a whole joke about it. And he said, you were so scared. You were so scared when you started. Mind you, I was in college working part-time there, 4 to 9 and every weekend. And I was terrified. I was the only woman. I was the youngest by far. I was terrified. And he trained me how to sell cars, but I didn't feel like I had the credibility or the knowledge or the product knowledge. So for a new person, to get back to the original question 12 minutes ago, a new person selling cars who's terrified, I would walk out there and just literally say, "Hi, welcome to RK Buick Subaru." That's where I started. "Hi, welcome to RK Buick Subaru. I'm just looking. Great, welcome. My name's Christine. All the cars are actually locked. You can walk around them all you want to, but if you want to get that new car smell, let me know. I'll grab some keys. I'll get out of your hair. I'm happy to help you any way that I can." And then I'd walk away. Like I would just stand back, and they got my name. Hopefully they got that energy. I did pretty well. Tom can vouch.
Yeah.
I did all right. I did all
Welcome
right.
is welcome
But
is
the word,
powerful.
I
the
always
word
say,
welcome.
I always say this too, Christine, and the reason you probably did good, aside from your smile, is that we were stupid when we first started. We didn't know anything about
That's exactly
finance.
right.
We
The
didn't know
dumber
anything.
you are, the earlier you are in your career in automotive, it seems. They call it beginner's luck. It's not luck. It's because
Stay
you don't
stupid.
know how to step on your own toes. You don't know how to undercut yourself. You don't know what the best deal actually is. So you can't try to like, well, I'm sure they'll do this. No, you trust and believe what the manager says. And that's actually a problem now, because even with my last dealership, which was very recent, as Priority Acura, and I love that store. I had a beautiful time at that store. Andy Miller is the GM. He's amazing. And the problem with some of the salespeople is they know too much. Even the brand new ones, they can go online and check 5 different sources and understand that potentially what they were given as the first pass may not have been genuinely the lowest price that the person could possibly get. And being customer advocate, as we all feel like we should be, they try a little too hard, and then they step on their own toes, they squash their own opportunities. And instead, when we just blindly followed leadership and said what we were told to say, load your lips, and then we would genuinely do it like a parrot would, we made more money, we were more successful, because we didn't know how to hurt ourselves and ruin our own deals.
Yeah,
And
fight or flight hadn't kicked in. That's
I
why I
am
mean, think about
a
it.
good Christian woman. I didn't ever try to screw anybody over, not once in my career. I didn't ask questions either. My manager said that's the best deal. I believed them because they're the manager, they're the boss. There was a hierarchy. That hierarchy is broken down so badly now. I had a salesperson say, "I don't do half deals," to the manager. I almost fell over. Almost fell over from, like, I almost passed out. Not trusting your own evidence, but trusting those in leadership at your store will always make you more money. Your customer will actually leave happier. And we all have experienced this. People who pay more but got a good experience leave happier than people who beat you down,
Yeah,
the lowest
facts.
price, and then they leave you a bad review and they always complain that they were unhappy.
And
The
think
thing
about
that-
it.
Management.
The thing that
It's-
beat Hitler and Napoleon, other than following Russians into the Russia, was fighting a war on 2 fronts. You can't be battling your managers and your customers. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yep. So that line right
and,
there, let's just get that on the track. Welcome
and still,
to my dealership, name of dealership. My name is, I'm so happy you chose to stop here. Even if you're just looking, of course you would look. Why wouldn't you? There's so many wonderful choices right now. It's so much faster and easier than researching online. Let me know if I can be of assistance. In the meantime, was it new or used cars that you're looking at? And they're going to answer you. And then you
and
go,
really,
you just
oh,
bypass the whole objection and you start working together with them.
really, I believe myself, and hopefully I believe everybody agrees. Sales is psychological. And so when you really break it down to that, if we're talking about that salesperson that's just starting, that person struggling, that fight or flight that's in us, it also is applicable to sales. So when that new person is there, they don't have any bad situations to compare it against. They don't have any deals that they lost. They don't have any declines yet. So they're going like Christine was saying, just blind energy. And then what happens after a couple negative experience, that negative emotion is so much more overpowering than remembering that person that did get approved, or that person that did treat you pleasantly or whatever. And after repetition, I've seen people think themselves out of a job more, that where their thoughts of what was happening was far worse than what was actually happening. And so again, just talking to piggyback on what she said, making sure that they tap in understanding the psychology behind selling, why we do what we do, and how we can help people feel certain ways will help big time too.
Hey, Brian, would you agree with this statement? Customers buy when they're heard.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is it. that goes back to the original statement of active listening, critical thinking, and then you'll go right past the objection stage.
I know we're kind of getting up to the hour, Larry, but I'm interested to hear from Joshua now that we can see him. And you know,
I don't think he can talk. You remember he was in the car. He was picking up his son.
Yeah.
He's
Josh, can you talk, Josh?
He's got a big car if that's it.
I can
Josh,
pretend.
can you?
Does it
Go
have
ahead,
a big
there
engine?
he is.
Where I was going is that, you know, we're talking about when people are on the lot, they're at the bottom of the funnel, right? In the buying cycle. But what about Joshua when we're talking to people that aren't buying and we've got to create some demand, we've got to create some interest. It's kind of a different approach. Joshua, I'd like to hear a few comments from you if we could.
So two things. One, I liken the cold call a lot like the service drive. You got somebody in front of you in a way, and you have to get them to trust you. That's what I understand. I was really good at it in the service drive, right? In service for a couple of years. Like, I got really good at it, and I went right cold from the bench to the desk and started writing service. And within 90 days, I was vying for top spot. Like, it's not hard to write service because the entire day is, how do I make this customer feel like I would treat my grandmother? It was really easy to do that.
I have to correct you. It's easy to sell service when your attitude is as good as Josh Taylor's. But I've seen some guys that are allergic to walkarounds and don't understand how important it is to communicate with their customers. So a guy like you, a person like Christine, a Durran, a Jeff Scherer, if you notice, there's nobody grumpy on this show. Every damn person we brought in has a big smile on their face. And if you go through life, if you can't wait to get up in the morning, you already got life half licked.
See, this is where your context isn't quite 100% because it's 8 o'clock at night, not 6 a.m. You see me at 6 a.m., you'd be changing your fucking tune.
Again with the foul language, you know, I'm almost a minister, which confuses my Jewish friends.
But you know what? The cold call is a challenge, right? Because we don't get the opportunity to overcome necessarily the objection. It's no, click, or it's I don't like it. You could be midway through your pitch, midway through handling that. Hey, I realize that you're just looking. However the 8 of us have phrased or framed that objection in turning it into information gathering, building trust, building rapport. The phone, you could be halfway through that one sentence thing. They go click. So attitude, I think, is got to be my key multiplier, and I appreciate my second, third, fourth mother, Wendy, who gave me nothing but love while I was driving. I really appreciate that with all my heart.
I have an idea for you because I'm doing cold calling right now, and it sucks. I just posted a video, I think yesterday was Tuesday. It was called Cold Calling Sucks, and but it's necessary. And anybody who thinks you can sell without picking up the phone is wrong.
Right.
Texting is great, emailing is fabulous, video is the best, but you have to do a combination. So assuming that the list of people that you're prospecting to has both an email address and a phone number, hit them every which way, and that includes social media. So what I do is I send an email first, not like responding to a lead where they've reached out to you and then you call them back. If they don't know me, I send an email first and it's a video. Hi, my name's Christine. Very brief, 30 seconds or less. I'm going to call you later today. And I call them later that day. I always get sent to voicemail 100% of the time, maybe 99% of the time. And then I say, hey, it's Christine. I sent you an email today. The subject line is, please search out my email. I'm sure it's buried by now. You're very busy. And then I find them on LinkedIn. I send them a connection request. If I can message them, I message them a separate video. Say, hey, I sent you a message earlier, left you a voicemail. I know how busy you are. They see when you open their page because it alerts them that you've been on their page. Right. Depending on who you're prospecting, they may not be on LinkedIn. But I hit all areas. I come in from every angle. And then the very next day, not 3, 5, 7 days later, the very next day, I do it again. and I say, hey, I'm so sorry I missed you yesterday. It probably was your day off. It's Christine. You need to see this, and use the word you. That's a video I saw recently saying the word you. Instead of I want to speak to you, I have something to show you, I say, you need to see this. You will be very shocked to learn. You will find very valuable. You. Say you instead of I, and hit them again with another quick video. Use BombBomb or just send it quickly. Like if it's on your texting, 30 seconds or less, or it won't get delivered. Text them a video, BombBomb a video. There's a billion other different services you can use. Show them who you are. Doesn't matter at all. I never put on makeup unless I have a very important meeting. I don't care anymore. This is a filter. This has a filter that says improve my appearance. I'm old. Like this makes me look great. I actually love
Can you
this.
share that, please?
Yeah. Go to the video settings. Do
You can actually change. You can actually turn up how good you look on Zoom.
Yes,
Like crazy.
and I turn it all the way up because I'm old. So I go to wherever it is. I can't find it right now.
She's not old.
Video setting, choose. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
You'll find it. Go to the
And
video.
anyway, what you just said was really great, and thank you for sharing that. That was
Video,
fabulous.
email,
Yeah,
voicemail. Do it again the next day.
That
Video,
What's
is
your
my
mix?
exact
Email.
strategy.
Like, are you like priority is call? We're like priority right now for us is call. Second part of the cadence is email, and that email includes video, and it's try to keep it super brief. Email as a second part of the cadence, second day. Trying not to leave voicemail on the first day. So call, email with video, call with voicemail, referencing the email or the call.
And then your video has to be generic, doesn't it? Because you can't take a video for each customer and upload it prior to the call.
Absolutely.
I turned it off. See, look, now I got crow's feet. Got blotches.
still not old, but okay.
I mean, I'm
I
still
can't
old,
get rid
but
of the
it's
gray
not
though.
as
They've got a
good.
gray filter.
No, I'm just in low lighting now, but I'm telling you,
Christine,
do what you got to do.
Christine, A, you look great. B, me and Tom Kline and Peter Smith have scars on our body older than you, okay?
I doubt it.
Absolutely, Larry.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna
But
turn it
Josh, you
back
said-
on. I don't like it.
Josh, you said you can upload a video for every customer. Customer.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. 'Cause I know
I'm
some
getting to the point where through Vidyard I can do
Vidyard, yes.
Vidyard. I use Vidyard too.
I'm
That's
trying to get
fun.
it down so the videos are like a minute, and the
30
biggest
seconds.
challenge for me is trying to make sure that I'm crispy with the script overlay. But I can do it's a Vidyard allows you cam, audio, and screen capture all at once. So I'll go from the dealership's page. I'm trying to keep them down to about a minute, and I've got the whole process down to about 8 minutes per prospect. I'm trying to get it down to 5, because then I can rattle off 15 to 20 in an hour, and then I'll call those same 20 people. If I can get that, because I can rack off 20 to 30 calls in about 2 hours, no problem. Unless I'm not talking to anybody, then it's like 40 to 60.
Quick question.
Yeah.
As far as when y'all are sending out videos, I heard you and Christine, because I know in my email marketing, I have the image that is linked up to where the video is, because, not knowing which email, everybody's using, some of them will block you off when you have that something embedded in it. Have y'all found a software where it lets you integrate an actual video in it and send it where it's getting through servers?
And
Vidyard's also integrated with HubSpot, and it's the only one that is.
Vidyard is integrated into
Vidyard.
HubSpot, and I use
Brian, are we
BombBomb
connected
for
on
email.
LinkedIn?
I don't think so, but we will be.
Yes,
Because
sir.
I'm familiar with Vidyard.
I use Co-Video too, which does.
That's what I was gonna say. I like
Co-Video?
Co-Video.
Yeah.
Because you can make a template for yourself with a bunch of CTAs right on the background. And Josh, there's a free trial on my website, and if you want to try it, it's only like about $49 a month for a user, and it's really nice because they'll give you a free template.
Oh yeah,
And,
that's what we got in Vidyard. They've I think Jason's signing
cool.
us up like tomorrow for paid, because it's already on the free stuff. It already gives you some basic analytics, but as soon as you get into paid, it gives you tracking, gives you who clicked it, who watched it, how much they watched. And if it sends to more than one person, it'll show you who actually all watches it. And because Vidyard is the only video platform that is integrated directly into HubSpot, so I can be in the CRM and see where I sent the email to the prospect through HubSpot. And in HubSpot, it'll tell me all of that analytics inside HubSpot.
Now,
Yeah,
question
Brian, the
though, if
good
I
thing
use
is
Aweber, I use Aweber, so that's what I was going to ask next. Does it work with other platforms outside, or do I have to use the HubSpot CRM, or does
No,
it
you
let
can
you,
use whatever.
Oh, really? Okay, that's my big thing. I'm gonna check that out tonight
the
because yeah,
big
I'd have
thing
it where
is
they
that
have.
when they see it, they see a little tiny, like almost like what
The
is that?
thumbnail.
The boomerangs we used to do. It almost shows a little boomerang of your video, so they don't just see a link, because nobody's going to open an email and click
GIF.
a link. We're terrified, right? We've been taught
Right.
not to click a link. It's your
Exactly.
face kind of talking, and it's like a little back and forth thingy, and so they see that it's an actual video. And a lot of people will hold up like a whiteboard with the name of the person they're trying to reach out to, so that they know they're not about to click on a generic video. It'll say Brian.
Yeah, because
When you
mine
see
usually
me
has my
holding up
picture.
Brian, you're more
Yeah,
likely to actually open it.
it'll have my thumbnail with the play button on it. That's what each one of I have a template, so we just add in whatever image. And so when they click it, they think they're about to play it in, and I have good open rates. But if there's a way that when they click it, it's not taking them to YouTube or something like that, and they can just stay in that email, so they can click that link below it to go and contact or fill out this form. Okay, I'm gonna check those out. Thank y'all. Larry, I apologize.
Hey guys, before we get kicked off, I put in the chat a link to how to respond to reflex responses and brush offs, and it's from a mentor of mine who actually was on Shark Tank, and he won on Shark Tank. He won a deal with one of the sharks, so he knows his business. And take a look at it. Get back in touch with me. I'd love the feedback.
Hey guys, everybody that was on this call, I can't tell you how good it was to have you all on. If you all don't mind, there was a lot of objections we didn't get to. We're going to do part 2 next week. I know everybody's time is valuable and everybody's crazy busy.
I object.
But if any of you, yeah, but I'm ignoring you. I'm a car guy. If any of you can make it up next week, boy, would we love to have you. We appreciate everybody's contribution. And we'll be back here 7 p.m. Eastern Standard next week. We're going to do part 2 of the objections. Cannot thank you all for taking your time and really, really, it was a pleasure, Josh. It was a pleasure, Christine. Always a pleasure talking to my buddies, Mike and Peter and Wendy, of course, and Tom Kline, everybody. Yeah. So if we can reconvene next week, I would love it. If not, can't tell you how much we appreciate the time you've given us. Everyone is terrific. One last thing, which I'm jumping off, but forgive me, Durran. I was on Wendy's show this morning about how we can make AI more human, and she suggested that you, me, and John jump on next Wednesday. I did send a little text to you. Her show's great, and you, me, and John would really help fire that thing up, particularly with John's EV knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. Wendy, if you can, just send me an invitation or however I can get on my calendar, because I live off that calendar. So if you, I'm going to put my email address in the chat now, and then just send me a calendar invite, and I'll block.
I'll text it to you. Oh, okay. All right,
very important, Larry. I had to research like hell to find the link for this. I saw 12 posts about it, but I couldn't find one with that link that worked.
Feldman's the only one that worked.
Person that ever posts or reposts one of these links to this thing has an accurate link to the actual meeting.
You have to understand, Christine, in a world of AI, I have a sundial and an abacus, okay?
I'll help you.
My iPhone has a rotary dial, okay? So
I had to Google what the heck was going on to find the address. I made it.
I'm always talking to Durran. He's my boy, and me and Brian have become best buddies. And Tom, ever since I had the pleasure of meeting in Vegas, Mike Larkin, but it was such a breath of fresh air to have you and Josh on. I really hope you guys can join us next week.
Please.
You know what? Everybody on this show has energy. Everybody, you can hear you smile. Let's hang together. Let's work together. Let's do as much as we can together, because from my end, it was a pleasure having every one of you. You have no idea how much me and Brian appreciate it.
And real fast too, I want to just throw this out there. I mean, everybody, we have a lot of people that hear regularly. We really should focus on, when we see other people's posts or stuff like that, really just being consistent on sharing each other's content. It just helps everybody grow faster. Don't cost us any money. It's just additional marketing and kind of we're here sharing all this information here. Yeah, you know, so anything y'all post, especially if it's something you really want to get out, man, and you don't see I've shared it, message me or something, and I'll make sure I go find it and I'll get it out there.
And I'm up to almost 15,000 LinkedIn's. I don't even know who the hell I got. If Josh and Christine, if I'm not on your team, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll immediately respond. I would love to build our little community, help Wendy with her stuff, help any of you with anything you ever need.
Christine, Josh, it looks like wants to connect with you too. What's your last name?
Robertson, R-O-B.
Oh, I thought so. I see you in my
I just put my email in the chat. Everybody get my email. I'm on LinkedIn.
Larry, did you tell everybody it's past our bedtime and we need to go?
I'm tired.
I love you, Tom. I love you, Tom.
It's nice meeting you guys who I didn't already know.
Everybody stay healthy. I hope to connect with everybody, and I hope to see you all next week. Stay healthy. Can't thank you enough. Stay healthy.
Okay. Good night.
Talk soon.
Take care.